I'm here with Mrs. Karen Silvers today to talk about historical events that took place during her lifetime. Hello.
Hello.
So, what two historical events took place during your life that you remember most vividly?
Oh, I remember very vividly the day that John F. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, and also the assassination of Martin Luther King in 1968. And it's sad that those are two of my really vivid memories, but I remember a lot about those times, even though I was very young.
So, what are your memories of those days?
Well, the day that John F. Kennedy was assassinated, I wasn't even in school yet. I was waiting for my sister to come home from school, and I heard some boys talking about they got off school a little bit early because the president had been shot. And Sherry came home, my sister, and she was crying. And then I went in the house, my mom was crying, and my dad came home from the Pentagon, and he was crying. And I thought, oh, this is terrible.
So, what about those memories from the day that MLK died?
Well, we were at a function in downtown Washington, D.C. called Prelude to Taps, and it was a very moving ceremony where they went, actors and active duty military people enacted the different phases of the military through history. And in the middle of it, there was a big commotion, and the mayor of Washington, D.C. was there, and a lot of people came up, and he and his party were escorted out of the ceremony, and you just heard people starting to whisper that MLK had been assassinated.
Wow, well, how did these events affect your life?
Well, I think that it changed most Americans because when John F. Kennedy was president, he was a wonderful man, and I think a lot of people lost hope because somebody was snatched away from us who a lot of people had put all of their hopes into, and that he could lead this country to greatness. And Martin Luther King, well, of course, we all know that he was really helping the black people gain their equality in this country, and I think that it really set that whole movement back.
Yeah, well, your father was in the Army. How did his being in the military affect the way that these changed your life?
Well, I think that at such a young age, because I think in 1963, I was only 6, and in 1968, I would have been 11. And I think that it really made me aware, more so maybe than some kids might have been, because we were living in Washington, D.C., and he would come home with a lot of the news, and we would talk about it a lot. It was very forefront in our minds. And we also went to John F. Kennedy's funeral procession, where they took him from the rotunda in the Capitol to Arlington National Cemetery, and I remember vividly the caisson, Blackjack the horse with its boots in backwards, and even the cadence of the drum of the funeral procession.
Well, it seems that we are out of time. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
You're welcome.